So good morning. And it's this Wednesday after Christmas. And so all throughout the land, especially children are asking each other, what did you get? I've been thinking about it in the end of the year, what I got this past year. What I got maybe more special than anything was my health. I did not get COVID. I did not have any other major health issues. So often I take for granted my health, but not this year. Very thankful that I got a good year of health. In my family, we got a puppy. Oh boy. Which meant we couldn't have a real tree this year because we couldn't let the puppy get on it. So we had a dog tree. Never heard of that before. But also our youngest daughter moved to Florida, and that was a moment of sadness for me, even though it's a great move for her. Maybe number three, I got some new lessons about myself. This pandemic has been a way of exposing for me some idols that were in my life, but also powerfully in this year where there were so many potential obstacles and so many headaches of trying to make adjustments. I learned all over again, so thankful that Christ, as the old hymn goes, there is in Christ the solid rock I stand. No, all other ground is seeking sand. It also got a church to be a community of faith with, but also a church that stood strong in the midst of all kinds of threats. So at the intersection of the old and the new, lots of times the famous quote by Dag Hammarskjöld, the former General Secretary of the UN, is often quoted. For all that has been, thanks. For all that shall be, yes. I'm thankful for this past year, for all that it meant for me. And I'm looking to the future with an air of confidence, not in myself, not even in the church, but in Christ. I want to say a special word of thanks to a couple of people, and I'm going to get in trouble by not mentioning others. I want to thank Mike Dishman, who's been phenomenal as chair of deacons, Gene Cross as chair of the Leadership Council, Renee Shaw as chair of Finance Committee, and Vinny Belanger as head of personnel. And even more so, I want to thank my minister colleagues and the staff that supports us. It's a pleasure to come to work every day. You all don't realize how uniquely gifted this church is by having the ministerial staff and the support staff that we have. I don't just appreciate them, I don't just love them, I like them. And I'm thankful for them, for the commitment they have. But more than anything, as I pause to reflect on the past year, I'm thankful for my church family. I'm looking at you. You've invited me, as you do every year, to be your pastor. A sacred privilege, uniquely to be invited into the most sacred moments of your life, the births, the deaths, the baptisms, the weddings, on and on. And I'm allowed to have a front row seat to the stories of your life. It's just such a privilege that I never ever take for granted. So maybe two services that stood out for me, two experiences that just reminded me of how uniquely my bond with you is. And they were both doing pretty much the same thing. Ash Wednesday, we had an outdoor service where people could drive by and come in off the street. People who I didn't know at all, that I put ashes on them and reminded them of who they are. But then if you were here at Halloween Sunday, where I invited people to come forward and couldn't believe the response of how many of you immediately got up out of your pews and came down and allowed me the moving experience of placing ashes on your forehead to say, this is who you are. This is your truest birthright. You are the beloved of God, and the cross identifies you. So, what did I get? Well, I got a few things under the tree, but I got gifts all year long that reminded me of the goodness of God. And for you, I give such incredible thanks. But now we look to the new year. There's really a better question we all should be asking. It's not what did I get, but what did I give? That's our truest calling as God's children. That's what represents and reflects the Spirit of Christ, when we are giving people. Now, I'm not bashful. I'm not afraid and uncomfortable saying this. You might even expect me to put this little line in. We're at the end of the year. We have about 2 more days. We really need you to come forth with your giving to end the year strong, because this is what we are about. We are God's outpost in this community to spread the good news of Jesus Christ. And as we go into a new year, we need to support it every way we can and reflect the gifts that God has given us. So I hope you'll right now go and write a check, mail it in, bring it by the church office. But think about what you've been given this past year. You're still here. Thanks be to God. Think about what you can give that reflects God's Spirit in you. So for all that has been, thanks. For all that shall be, yes.